What's up, everybody? Sadly, before we start Arts Connection Solve today, I thought I would address a very nasty email that I received today. Okay? Very nasty. It had me very, very upset. And I figured maybe just the best way to kind of vent a little bit would just be to share it with you guys and prove to you, more or less, that I was not up to any shenanigans ever, and especially on the one that this particular person is calling me out for on yesterday's solve, which included, of course, that Brazilian flag category. So this is the email that came in my inbox. What's up, Connections Cheater, is the subject. Now, I have removed their name just, to keep it confidential. I'm not trying to, I don't want to expose the person. I really want to expose the intent. I can't believe nobody else has called you out as a cheater. I had my suspicions, but yesterday's puzzle all but confirmed that you are a first-rate con artist. Very cute. I'm referring, of course, to your miraculous Colors in Brazil's flag category. Put aside the fact that all the other top YouTubers like Kenny, Doug, Scott, and Chris Remo, all of whom are far better and far more entertaining than you, were unable to get the category correct. Well, let's stop right there. You are correct. I did check them all, and none of those four were able to get it. And yes, I would admit that some of them are far better than me. Scott, for example, consistently solves his puzzles in under a minute, which is absolutely incredible. Chris Remo is pretty phenomenal. Kenny, his channel is exploding thanks to his connections shorts. And I mean, I think Doug and I are probably about this, probably about the same level. But there's no denying the fact. I'm not sure about some of them, but there's no denying the fact that I too admit that Doug is far more entertaining. He is definitely the most fun to watch. Okay, so anyways, let's keep going. Hey, at least they are honest. But you tried to deceptively validate taking the category by claiming that your office is in Framingham, Massachusetts, and that there's a heavy Brazilian population, so you see these flags all the time. Yeah, I call bullshit on that. I looked it up online, and there's no hint that Framingham has any trace of a Brazilian population whatsoever. So stop your bullshit and play honest, or better yet, just shut down your pathetic channel. All right, so first thing we should address is, please guys join me on Wikipedia to the delightful page of Framingham, Massachusetts. And I'm going to highlight this little section right here, which says, by the way, right after the introductory paragraph, the city has one of the largest Brazilian American populations in the United States, with a considerable Brazilian presence since the 1980s. So usually when you type something in, one of the first things it'll take you to is Wikipedia. So this person couldn't be bothered to just read that. Okay? Next, let's just say, hey, wait a second. But Art, you're just pulling stuff online. Wikipedia is not necessarily always correct. Fine. How about this, guys? Check out these pictures that I took today as I was driving to work. Picture number 1. If you just zoom in a little bit, right to the right of the South 126 sign, I think you can see a nice little Brazilian flag. And I think most of the words on the windows are in Portuguese. Let's move on to the next, Exhibit B. Do you guys see directly to the right of that light pole an American flag, and to the right, a Brazilian flag? Next picture, walking down the street here, what do we see? An American flag and a Brazilian flag directly in front of it. Next picture, this is a mattress store. Look at that. We have parking in the rear, mattresses and kids' furniture, American flag, Brazilian flag, and a beautiful Spanish flag as well. What's next? Monica Meat Market. What did we see here? 2 Brazilian flags. Next up, what do we see here? Here you have to zoom in a little bit, and it looks like it's in Portuguese. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it correctly, but something like Reciba na mesma hora com Pix. And look at that little Brazilian flag. The stores themselves, most of the people speak Portuguese. Next, Made in Brazil Express. Okay, I don't see the flag there, but the point is that it's pretty heavily populated with Brazilian population there. Next up, do you see directly behind those hearts a U.S. flag and a Brazilian flag? Next up, a U.S. flag and a Brazilian flag, and it looks like a Spanish one to the left of the U.S. flag. Look at Anastasia's, guys. Do you see directly above the open sign? I see a Brazilian flag there. And what do we have here? Falamos Português. So they speak Portuguese there. And what do we have here? Probably a liquor store. And of course, directly above the Patriots Bud Light sign, we have a draping Brazilian flag. And finally, in front of the store, just a different door, is the Brazilian flag. So, guys, when I go to work, I see these flags all the time. It's almost imprinted in my mind. So, I was not cheating. I wasn't lying about anything. Everything I said was true. And I thought it would be necessary to give you that little piece of evidence and to show you that I am not, under any circumstances, going to risk my reputation or the channel and ruin it for folks by looking up information prior to doing the solve. Okay? So, just sort of had to get that off my chest. Obviously, the person hates me, and that's totally okay. But I think they took it one step too far, and I had to call them out. So hopefully that person saw today's video and realizes that they pretty much made a fool of themselves. With that in mind, guys, yes, why don't we go ahead and see how we do on today's connections. All right, guys, here we go. So yes, having gotten that out of my system, we are now ready to do the connections for Friday, January 19, 2024. Let's hit the play button. Let's remove the instructions. Let's just move this down a little bit. For some reason, the date's not appearing, but that's okay. All right, let's move Art up a little bit. And the timer for Art starts now. We've got Nuts, Fuzzy, Fudge, Darn, Peppers, Cherry, Strand, Ditch, Desert or Dessert, Maroon, Shoot, Woodchuck, Rats, Seashells, Sprinkles, and Curses. All right, you've got Sprinkles, you've got Cherry, you've got Nuts, and you've got Fudge. And those all sound like very tasty things that you could add as like a sundae topping. I don't see anything else. So are these sundae toppings? Yes, they are. Okay. Next, you've got Rats, Curses, Shoot, and Darn. I would call those mild expletives. Yeah, I would call those mild expletives. I don't see anything else that works there. Okay, we're out of sequence, so that's not the end of the world. Phooey, but I think mild expletives is pretty good. And next up, we've got Dessert, Strand, Ditch, and Maroon. And I can see exactly what's going on with the other category. This would all be ways to abandon. Leave high and dry. Okay, a little bit more colloquial. I think we nailed it. And then Pepper, Seashells, Woodchuck, and Fuzzy. These are all words that are in very well-known tongue twisters. I think this is the one like Peter Piper picked a peck of peppers. Sally sells seashells. How much could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I'm not sure about the fuzzy. Somebody could tell me what the fuzzy is. So I think we can nail that. Bam, there we go. So there you have it, guys. Okay, there we have it. So please, I am not going to, again, ever compromise the channel. We do not look up anything in advance. Everything is done above board. And yeah, just still a little bit stung from that really, really nasty email. So what can you do? Yes, of course, there will always be haters out there, but we'll still try to, have fun, support the channel, and we'll just kind of move on and live another day. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed. And of course, I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another round of Connections.